Yeah, Alliance versus NiP. Apparently that's better understandable. NiP, not ninjas in pajamas. I said ninjas in pajamas, guys.
Mingles in pajamas.
Mingles in pajamas. I miss Mingles.
Yeah.
I think he has
a
he has a good home though with Trans and Hannah.
She.
Mingles? Yeah, she.
Mingles
it's a man name though. Manly name.
How was Mingles a man name? It's
Mingles manly.
Yeah. There you go.
What?
It's okay. Yeah.
I'm done.
Great. So our second series is Alliance versus Ninjas in Pajamas. And Ninjas in Pajamas, they have had a bit of a rough week and a half since the patch, basically, which was a week and a half ago, about-ish. So what do you think? After seeing Alliance today, who do not seem to be maybe on top of their A-game, there seem to be maybe communication issues going on, or at least not on top of their game as we saw them last week or yesterday even in the last game that they had.
Yeah, they seemed kind of messy in them games. And honestly, it's only like a 5-minute break between games. Yep. You know, it's not a lot of time to kind of relax and take a chill.
Yeah, just coughing. No, they did seem to have they didn't seem to have a clear-cut plan between their supports. It didn't seem like they had the rotations in mind, and they also didn't get the lanes the way they wanted. They went aggressive lane, and then they were like, "Oh shit, here's just an Earthshaker," and immediately have to TP away with their Dazzle. So they didn't get things going their way for them. And
I don't think Veno is their hero either, because like we saw Veno try to rotate bottom.
They won a game with Veno mid though earlier.
They did. Yeah, but in that game specifically, they tried to rotate Veno bottom to try and gank Gyrocopter. And like they just walked away. Like
maybe they just weren't expecting an aggressive tri lane, and they just got caught off guard with that.
I think the Veno didn't really do what a Veno does though in this game. Like they ganked and they fought with it and so on, but there weren't too many fights they could take anyway. So the fighting build is not going to benefit them much. And he didn't have the wall of wards early because he spent 4 points into his Q and W.
Yeah.
So it took him very long before he had relevant level on the wards. And by that time, the Gyrocopter and the DK could almost kill the wards anyway. So he never really got to shut off a lane and stop a push from happening, which is what you really picked this hero for. I thought it was a brilliant counter pick to the DK until they went too much into the just going damage. And if you go a little bit into a damage build, maybe you should just go all the way, just bring the full damage nuke. Because right now he was like sort of good at everything, but not really excelling at something. If you shut down the wave, like mid lane, you can just have 6 Venom wards up all time, and DK is never going to take your tier 1 tower. And even if Chen comes, how is he going to kill you? Yeah,
exactly. We saw Chen rotate with the smoke early.
Yeah, and he killed the Venom
exactly, because he had no wards at all.
Yeah, exactly. There was no wards, so Venom was just way out of position and got caught out. So I don't know. I don't think the Venom pick was the issue. I thought it was a great counter pick actually, but the game definitely didn't work out for them. They need to reset quickly. Yeah. So this is going to show, caliber of a team as well. If you can go quickly from a 2-0 loss in a best of 2 into the next series and just realize every game is, an individual game, just, take it as it comes.
Yeah, yesterday we saw what was strong against Alliance, also the same what was strong against Virtus Pro. It's aggressive tri-lanes. Keep those supports busy, and as long as you can make sure that they can have impactful rotations towards the mid lane, you're home free. So is that going to be something that NiP is going to go for? NiP is not typically known for going for aggressive tri-lanes.
No.
Yeah, and that's been very popular in the games we've seen today and yesterday. So we'll see. But NiP play pretty good on defensive tri-lanes though. Like they're really good at that. And in general, if they get to farm up, that's when NiP really shine. So we'll see. I think we might see a farm trade in this game, and I think Alliance are really going to be trying to get their aura strat against NiP as well. That would be a good weapon against.
Definitely. Especially when NiP, they kind of pick a lot of like Axe. They really like their Axe and Limp.
They like Axe and like Tiny. A lot of these heroes are going to suffer if they have minus armor.
Exactly.
Tiny in particular, because he has solo armor to begin with. If he doesn't have this all QS already, he takes plenty of damage.
Hanskin, Seal Kid, Jonas Samfam,
Limp,
and Era. Did I say them right?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that you tried to pronounce Era's names also, like slightly Swedish.
Full kind of Swedish accent.
Era.
Well, Era is, that's a Swedish word as well.
What does it mean?
It means yours. Yours, like your things.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's not really where he got the name, I think.
No.
I don't think so either. No. But at least we know Jonas som fan.
Yeah.
We practiced.
That's a good name.
We actually practiced really nice so much. Like it's not. I'm not even joking with you, Waga. Like
I can tell. I got here and you guys were like already saying it really well. I'm like, damn, you must have.
We were watching like MLG. We were watching like all these other competitions, and we were like, I did say it right, and we were like, maybe we don't know. And
I
then
mean, LD was saying Johannes is fun. Like, it's
He did not watch
Johannes.
Dre's video.
Yeah, we had Dre's though. He came in and he gave us a lowdown.
That's good.
Yeah, so for NiP, they go a lot for IO and Tiny. Are we going to see IO and Tiny? We did not see Alliance ban out IO last game. It was actually banned out.
In the first game they did, but in the second game they didn't, right? So
Jonas Sumfan.
yeah,
Jonas
maybe.
Sumfan.
There we have him. The man, myth, legend.
So are these
These are lifetime stats. it seems.
lifetime stats? They changed them.
Yeah, it's slightly interesting.
Really good stats on Clockwork.
And
Really
Bat
solid.
Rider as well.
Yeah, of course.
What happened to Batrider, Wagger? We don't really see Batrider that much anymore.
Yeah, I think Batrider is such a hero that teams are always going to be happy to draft because he's, just the way he functions. He always has been a popular hero in Dota. Like, probably one of the most relevant picks throughout Dota's history because he has this fundamental thing that he goes in, picks one guy, pulls him back to your team, and you fight from there.
He
Like,
messes with positioning.
Yeah,
There's a few
exactly.
heroes that do
It's
does
really
that.
comfortable to have on your team. He's also pretty good at catching split pushers. But he has been receiving a lot of different nerfs. He has one that is actually a buff in this recent change where the stick and napalm will give more damage to your flame break because it takes 4 times.
Yeah, but it also, I don't know. It's
not
really
burst, but it's a lot more damage.
True,
like already with 1 stick and napalm, you deal the same damage as you did previously. If you have 4 stick and napalms, it deals tons more damage. So
why don't we see him? We know that Bulldog and Jonas Fan as well are 2 formidable Batrider players.
I think a lot of the heroes right now are just good against Batrider, like Beastmaster showing Batrider all the time.
A lot of Rubik being picked up as well.
Fair enough.
Earthshaker.
Beastmaster and Shaker are probably 2 of the biggest reasons. And even Wisp being so popular, Wisp can save people from the relocate. I think that's
these stats are wrong.
Yeah.
He's amazing at Juggernaut. Just don't look at the numbers.
Terrible axe though.
Never won a game.
Average GPM 480. It's quite high actually for an offline player.
Yeah, but still, that's probably also from the very few games, right? So
yeah,
it
I would assume.
Doesn't
that's
matter
also
much. But he's a
up.
pretty greedy player. He played his Midas Spirit Breaker yesterday as well, which did help him a lot. He got items up, but still lost that game.
We did see Lone Druid banned, by the way, both games just now.
Didn't, yeah.
True.
Do you think if you're Alliance now, you're like, okay, screw that, whatever we did in that game, let's just go back to comfort zone, go for our, like Chen, try and get our Lone Druid,
Viper.
There's the safer lanes.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, at the same time, they lost with Chen in the first game. The Lone Druid they weren't even allowed to get, and it's.
I know, but when I
tough.
see Bulldog on Beastmaster, for example, like he plays really well on it, but it's not his hero. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't do enough. Like they roar someone and
He's
nothing
good. He doesn't excel, and he excels at Lone Druid. Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you get like 2 targets banned to you as a player in the first phase of a game. Like you can't ask much more of one player there. I think you have 2 heroes you excel really well at, so well that the enemy wastes their first 2 bans on those 2 heroes.
Yeah, but
then you've done a lot already.
What I mean is like I don't mean that he didn't play. I mean, he did play really well.
Yeah,
but it's just that like maybe other heroes like Clockwork, like Centaur, like maybe
Centaur as well. Yeah.
maybe even Batrider. You know,
true.
So someone that can do damage and also initiate.
Yeah, like there are maybe some heroes that would suit him better, but at the same time you have to abide to the overall draft as well sometimes.
True.
But that's what happens when you get targeted, though. You get limited to.
They're bullying him, Wagger.
Huh?
They're bullying him.
They are. Poor Bulldog. Save Bulldog.
So Ninjas in Pajamas has actually recently also played quite a few games of Ogre.
Really?
As a support. They haven't played that many games on patch, I have to say that, like 4 series or something like that, or maybe even 4 games. So like really not that many games, but the games that they did play, they had Ogre in a few. Hanskin plays their Ogre. What do you think about as Ogre as a support?
He always loved Ogre, I think. He played in the last DreamLeague as well. I can remember him playing a lot. But I think Ogre is not a bad hero to go to. He fits quite well in the current meta, just that you want to fight a lot. Ogre is one of the fattest supports you could get. He's so bulky, you can't bring him down. And he's great at fighting non-stop. Pretty low mana cost spells. Get a magic one on this hero and he can keep fighting forever pretty much. And
so pretty good for this patch.
Yeah,
I mean, why don't we see more then?
I'm not sure. There's so many heroes that could be good in this patch, and we only have so much time. So I think teams are not used to the patch fully yet.
Oh, that's going to be, by the way, interesting to see the summit, how that progresses,
and
starts to move.
Worth mentioning, I guess, is that there are substitute heroes to Ogre that possibly do it even better, like Night Stalker and Spirit Breaker right now.
Yeah.
Play really well from the same position and maybe contribute even more.
Really, even though if you have like a strong late game hero with the buff.
I think so. Like
Okay.
the vision is extremely big, so Night Stalker bringing that is huge. He also has 8 seconds of silence, which is massive.
The removal of vision is the
Exactly.
It's
Killing
so
off the
powerful.
enemy vision and giving you vision is huge. And Spirit Breaker, well, he's just like the best fighter possibly that you could have. He just ramps people.
Nobody's safe. Like when you pick a Spirit Breaker, like all the supports, you're afraid to ward. You're afraid to do anything.
However, like
Vision
a good
is
Spirit Breaker
important.
support is gonna need your team to play the correct way, though. Like it's easier to play a good Ogre Magi without your team having to adjust to it. Because when you have a Spirit Breaker, you have to go with him. You have to actually get the kills
to help
for
him
him.
out, yeah.
Because else he's just running around and staying low level. And if you don't get levels on Spirit Breaker, you're going to have a terrible time. So bounty runes are good for him, etc. Ogre Magi doesn't care.
What's the story with Alchemist? When is the team going to pick Alchemist?
Please.
Is it going
I'll farm an Aghanim for everybody.
I think NiP would be the team that should think
the
about it
solo mid
most.
Alchemist.
I think they would be probably the most likely teams to try it out. Because Alchemist, they could do Alchemist and Tiny and try that out. I think that's a decent idea. I don't like getting a fully weak Alchemist that much.
I don't mean like he's going to rush Ags or anything like that. I just mean the amount of gold you can gain so quickly. Like even we used to see Mech Alchemist a lot. You know, this kind of Guardian Greaves, something like that.
It's playable. I'm just thinking that, is he going to be the best for the role? And the downside is, if the enemy come in contest, that's always been his downside. If the enemy come in contest, he's pretty strong at fighting. But right now, there are heroes that are extremely strong at fighting, are very popular, like Gyrocopter.
Yep.
What do you do if you have Alchemist safe lane and there goes an aggressive tri-lane with Gyrocopter? Like, how screwed are you?
Yeah.
So that's the issue. Like, if you farm an Alchemist, I'm sure you could, get into that 6 slot quickly and then take over the game.
We are, by the way, waiting for, I think, the last players to enter the lobby. And then we head into the game. We are slightly behind schedule, but we're just waiting for all the players to be ready before we go into the game, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, usually it's good to have all 10 players in the Dota game.
It is.
See that in the last game. Yes, we'll see.
So one thing that I mentioned before as well in the pre-show today, Leshrac for Era. The one game they won on this patch. It worked.
It works.
Core
I
Leshrac.
think you're under so much pressure if you pick it though. Like if people get BKBs at any stage, the hero is very, very weak against it.
Yeah, I mean it can be very dominating of a hero, and he works quite well with Wisp. Should be mentioned as well. You can even have like a Mango on Wisp and just feed so much mana over to Leshrac instantly. But I don't know if it's that reliable as you say, because when you have BKB, you almost take no damage from Leshrac. There are plenty of heroes that can burst down Leshrac during that time. Even with Bloodstone or whatever he rushes, he can still get targeted down.
Like heroes like Nyx Assassin are extremely...
Yeah, exactly. Even a support like Nyx could bring him down by just mana burning repeatedly.
I don't
However,
think Nyx
Bloodstone
Assassin
Rush
that
is good against that.
Well, when we saw Team Tinker, they picked it a lot.
True.
Yeah. And we saw FNG play it yesterday.
But that was on the previous patch, and Team Tinker on that patch had, like, in that month, 100% win rate on Nyx Assassin.
Well, they didn't change him that much. They just gave him the Aghanims.
Yeah,
So-
but why don't we see the Nyx in this patch?
Well, I mean, we're talking about such small pools, though. Like,
Yeah,
it's like
we still have time.
percentages of wins on teams and heroes are not really that big anyway. Like, you shouldn't care too much about it because it comes down to more than just that hero being in that game. There are so many heroes and different performances from players. Sometimes a player plays well or not. So if you just have like 20 games or 40 games on a hero to go by, it's very unreliable.
Also depends, especially with a hero like Nyx, on what you're playing against as well.
It's easier to actually look at the game and see if someone excels at the hero to tell from that. But
I just saw downloading compendium.
Oh my god, is this really?
I don't know.
what?
I thought there might be the Immortals.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Immortals.
My Immortals. There's the Steam connection is flaky. It seems
I
that's
see.
the thing that we're trying to
Yeah.
sort out.
Trying to tell us. Script
Yes.
doesn't have a voice. He's our cameraman, but he tries to talk by moving the mouse around,
Mimicking.
clicking the
It's actually
compendium.
far more pleasant than his real talk.
Oh yeah.
And can't talk back.
Get Rex Griff.
Uh,
He's actually typing to me now. He's saying, "Meow."
yeah, that's
That's a solid message. Thank you, Scriff.
Well played. So we talked about what Ninjas in Pajamas should try to do to Alliance to win the game. but what does Alliance need to do to win against Ninjas in Pajamas? Is there anybody in specific that they need to be watching out for, or any role in specific, any lane in specific, anybody that they need to shut down?
Looking at last game, they just need to come together, you know? Like, it didn't look like they were 100%. And their predictions pre-game was also not 100% on. Like, they got the lanes wrong and stuff like that. But that could be fine, as long as your team is ready to work together and do what you need to do. But they were like feeding on bottom lane. They were, you know, not getting the lanes correctly, and then they were running out to shut down the Chen with the Dazzle, who can't do it against Witch Doctor with boots. Like, everything seemed to be off in the early game. They need to close down the mistakes in the early game.
Yeah, it's the same in game 1 as well, when they were just kind of split up all over the place.
A lot of that can be done.
Game 1.
A lot of that can be done by just communication before the game starts. I'm not saying before you start drafting, but right after you're done with your draft, you can see what the enemy can do and what you can do. So just right then, you need to talk a lot and say the different possible scenarios and be ready for everything, as much as you can at least.
Well, you think like previous game that they just had, like looking at the drafts, do you feel like they were outdrafted as well, or was it actually just play?
I don't think they were outdrafted. I think it was very even in draft. I think they could definitely, like as we heard, you know, recently here in our interview, that CM might not have been the best hero against that team in the team fights, but she can also provide so much early on. The mana region is huge for her team. That's why she put 2 points into it by level 3 even. Yeah. And the Frostbite is enough to shut down the Chen in the aggressive jungle. So I think it could definitely have played out differently if they were just more ready.
It allowed Loda as well, and just to spam the spear in the offlane. I think it was pretty decent, but I don't know. I think Aki needs to be on the Chen, or like a hero or Wisp, so something that can make something happen.
So what are your predictions? What are we thinking here?
I think Aki Copter, just steal it from Loda, like screw Loda. Take the
Aki Copter.
Yeah, Aki Copter.
You used to play that quite a bit.
Yeah, I remember the first game I saw Aki transition him from being a support to being a carry in the game, just MKB and stuff, like from being from buying wards. He started from the bottom, you know.
He worked his way.
Yeah, that was some stuff.
The true underdog story.
Yeah.
So in terms of score, 1-1, 1-2, 2-1. There's not a 1-2. That's not possible.
Okay.
There's only 2 games.
After what I saw in the last game, I'm gonna have to say Ninjas in Pajamas 2-0. Like just judging off what I saw.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually believe in NiP as well a lot. I think they're really strong. And looking at Alliance so far today, they haven't proven me a reason to say 1-1 or 2-0 to Alliance. I think NiP could take this. And NiP had the advantage as well, seeing the previous games.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is kind of nice when you just sit there and ready and waiting, you know. I don't know if they were actually playing a game of their own. I think they were free before this, which is really good in preparation.
It's kind of a big test for Alliance as well, because like after losing 2 games so convincingly, you know, if you can come into this game, you know, fresh, you know, do really well in this game, it'll show that they're kind of ready for TI, because you need to have that experience and composure like throughout all the games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to be really important for Alliance to have the mentality to also be able to bounce back.
Yeah.
Ready for TI qualifiers. The hell.
These are the enemy, Wagger.
This is the enemy.
Study the enemy.
Everyone is the enemy, man. Like, you're the enemy, actually.
I might be in it as well.
Is it not the enemy of my enemy is my friend?
But what if everyone's enemies?
Then you were friends with loads of people.
We're all friends, yeah.
Damn.
It works.
That's
Dota's peace and love.
That's too much philosophy for me. You're all my enemies. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah, I should walk over. I think it's time for
I'm going to expect a 1-1 in this one, by the way, just to get my prediction out there as well. But indeed, Waga already left us. It means he's over to the casting desk with OD Pixel, because we are ready for the first game of our second series. It is Alliance versus NiP.